The Crusades. But what were the Crusades? The Crusades were military and religious campaigns promoted by the papacy to regain the Holy Land, which had fallen to the Muslims. There were 9 expeditions and they took place between 1096 and 1291. The most important were the first, the third, and the sixth, since they allowed the temporary recovery of the city of Jerusalem and the establishment of several Christian kingdoms in the Near East. All the others end in failures. Its name comes from the red cross that was sewn on the clothes of those who participated in the Crusades, who were called Crusaders. They could be lay religious or members of religious military orders such as the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem, the Temple and the Hospitallers of San Juan, among others.
What was the origin of the Crusades? This dates back to the late 11th century when Pope Urban II convoked the Council of Piacenza, in which he received the ambassador of the Byzantine Empire. He asked for help to stop the advance of Seljuk Turks, who had occupied almost all of Anatolia and were intolerant of the Christians. With this news, Urban II summoned the Council of Clermont, in which he called the First Crusade. The aim was to recover the Holy Sepulchre of Jesus Christ, in which had fallen into the hands of the Turks because Jerusalem and its surroundings are sacred to both Christians and Muslims. Believers of both religions face each other with great fervor to protect their ideals, faith, and holy places. Also, the Crusades were religiously motivated, and other factors were also important, such as the ambition of European feudal nobles who wished to conquer new territories and the aspiration of Italian merchants who wanted to expand their trading networks.
Well, what were the characteristics of the Crusades? The main characteristics of the Crusades were the following. First, they were promoted by the papacy and supported by the main Christian kingdoms of Europe, including France and England. Second, a total of 9 campaigns were organized, taking place between the end of the 11th century and the end of the 13th century. Their geographical settings was the coast of the Eastern Mediterranean. His main motivations were the religious fervor and expansionist interest of the European feudal nobility. They meant persecutions and deaths of Muslims, Jews, and Orthodox Christians.
But Daniela, how many were the Crusades? So, in total, the Crusades were 9 military and religious campaigns, although some authors consider the 9 as part of the 8. So I will name the dates of the Crusades and their results. The first, 1096 to 1099. The result of this crusade was the Christian victory. Second, 1144 to 1149. The result of this crusade was the Muslims' victory. The third, 1189 to 1192. The result of this crusade was the Muslim victory. Fourth, 1201 to 1204, the result of this crusade was conquest of Constantinople. Fifth, 1218 to 1231, the result of this crusade was the Muslim victory. And then, sixth, 1228 to 1229, the result of this crusade was Christian victory. And seven, we have the crusade was in 1248 to 1254, in which the result of this crusade was the Muslim victory. The 8th, 1270, the result of this crusade was a Christian defeat by epidemic. And the last one, we have 1271 to 1272, in which the result of this crusade was Muslim victory.
As every act has causes, the most important of the Crusades were: first, the desire of Christians to regain Jerusalem, which had fallen into the hands of Muslims. Second, the Catholic Church concerned about the spread of Islam. Third, the search for fame, rich and lands promised by the Crusades. This was the reason why they had much convocation among European kings, princes, and nobles of the time. Fourth, the ambition of merchants, especially Genoese and Venetians, who wished to expand trade and establish trade between East and West.
Now, on the other hand, we are going to talk about the consequences of the Crusades. Well, the main consequences of the Crusades were the following. First, the Pope's leadership over the Christians of Western Europe and the spread of Christianity to the East was reinforced. The aggravation of the conflict between Rome and the Orthodox Church due to the occupations of the Constantinople by the Crusaders in 1204. The enrichment of Western culture due to the influence of Arab and Byzantine art and science. The opening of trade routes between East and West. The strengthening of the nation bourgeoisie as a consequence of the profit provided by the provisioning of the armies and the increase in traffic with the East. The weakening of the feudal system, which gradually began to be replaced by the commercial capitalism. And finally, the death of large numbers of people, especially women, children, and the elderly during the taking of cities, and the attacks on caravans and pilgrims.
And Daniela, who were the protagonists of the Crusades? So, some of the main protagonists of the Crusades were Urban II, 1042 to 1099, Pope of the Catholic Church between 1088 and 1099, of French origin. He presided over the Council of Clermont and called the First Crusade. And Pedro de Amiens, 1050 to 1140, 15 clergyman of French origin, also known as Pedro the Hermit. In 1096, he organized a crusade made up mostly of peasants, which was annihilated by the Turks. Peter survived and participated in the taking of Jerusalem.
Other important characters of the Crusades were Frederick Barbarossa, 1122–1190, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, participated in the Third Crusade after twice defeating the Muslims. He drowned in Anatolia, falling into the Salé River wearing heavy armor. Saladin, 1138–1193. Sultan of Syria and Egypt, founder of the Ayyubid dynasty, he defeated the Christians at the Battle of Haiti, 1187. He reigned Jerusalem for the Muslims.
Well, now we have here Richard the Lionheart, 1157 and to 1199. He was King of England between 1189 and 1199. He participated in the Third Crusade. In 1192, he signed the Treaty of Ramla with Saladin, establishing a 3-year truce and free access to Christians to Jerusalem, which was left to the Muslims. And finally, Louis the Knight of France, 1240 to 1270, King of France of the Capetian dynasty. He participated in the Seventh Crusade, which led him to Egypt, where he was taken prisoner and had to pay a ransom for his freedom. He later organized the Eighth Crusade, but after leading in Tunisia, a plague broke out and died of dysentery and scurvy.